I used to think the sound guy was the reason I sounded bad. My tone was great at home, great at Wednesday rehearsal. Then Sunday it came back at me thin, or buried, or honking in some frequency I didn't even recognize. And every time, I had the same thought, the one you've probably had too. If this guy knew what he was doing, I'd sound the way I sound at home. I was wrong, and it took me an embarrassing long time to figure out how wrong. Let me save you years. Let's say the thing out loud. Almost every guitarist on the worship team has, at some point, blamed the sound guy for the mix, for the volume, for your guitar sounding bad, the thing that went wrong. And it's easy because he's the one guy in the building touching a knob that you can't see. And when something sounds off, he's the obvious suspect. And honestly, I didn't just blame him, I resented him. I'd come off stage frustrated, and the resentment had a face. The face of the guy in that booth. I'd convinced myself if he knew what he was doing, I'd sound the way I sound at home. Easy story to tell yourself. Wrong story, but easy. 18 years on a worship team, every Sunday, and I carried that resentment for years longer than I should have. Sunday Guitar is a channel about being good to play next to. That includes the guy at the board as well. And if that's the kind of guitarist you want to be, subscribe. We'll get you there, one Sunday at a time. So here's what changed. Nothing dramatic, no big aha moment. It was slower than that. I just started paying attention to the guy at the board instead of resenting him. And here's what I completely got backwards. I thought he was a professional who was underperforming. He's not. He's a volunteer, same as you and me. The shift wasn't a decision. It was an observation. I stopped staring across the room, wondering why he wasn't fixing my tone, and started asking what I was handing him in the first place. Once I started looking at him as a person, not an obstacle, I saw a guy doing a hard job for free, learning live every Sunday with no second take, with no rehearsal, no practice that he can do at home. And he didn't even get an easy gift. You and me, we got a fun one. We get to make noise. We get a guitar, lots of pedals, the thing people clap for. He loves to make music as much as anyone in that room. He just wasn't handed an instrument, so he serves with the one tool he does have, the board. That's when the whole thing flipped for me. He stopped being the guy between me and my tone, and he became the guy on my team doing a very hard job for free, for the exact same reason that I was there. Let me walk you through what the sound guy is actually holding on a normal Sunday. Not a big event, just a regular Sunday. He's got the drummer, and that's not just one input. On our stage, that's around 10 microphones, just for the kit. Kick, snare, top and bottom, hat, toms, overheads. That's a lot. Plus 2 electric guitar players, an acoustic guitar, 1, sometimes 2 keyboards, bass player, a violin player on some Sundays. Now stack that on top of the 5 or 6 other channels for vocalists. That's a lot. The worship leader has a sound in their head and expects him to find it. The congregation, well, they'll tell him too, if it's too loud. And somebody 3 rows back, they'll tell him if it's too quiet. All in the same service. The pastor, they'll have an opinion too. And what no one factors in, he's doing all of this live. It's a live mix, live troubleshooting, live decisions on every fader. No sound check do-over, no second take. Every move is in real time, in front of everybody. Compare that to my Sunday. I walk in with 1 guitar and a pedal board. I carry 1, maybe 2 channels if I'm running stereo. He's holding 30-something channels and a building full of opinions. We're not carrying the same load. We're not even close. So instead of me telling you about my sound guy, let me introduce you to him. This is Micah. Micah, say hello.
Hello.
Micah, walk me through what you actually do back here.
I play with a lot of knobs and faders to make these guys sound as good as they are.
Tell me about the online mix. How does that work?
So we have 2 ways of doing it. One is here at the board where I have a sub layer that I send off, or I send from this board upstairs to another board. And we have another audio engineer who's mixing upstairs.
Great. How'd you end up doing this? How'd you end up becoming a sound guy?
Long story, I used to be a youth pastor a long time ago, and I did not have volunteers. And so in order to make my own sound work, I had to run our analog Allen and Heath. And then move the story along a bit. We launched this church. I was on setup and teardown. got burnout doing that, and was basically voluntold by the worship pastor that they needed another sound guy, and I was told I would do it, no questions,
Fair.
and just became a passion of mine.
And how long did it take you to learn this board?
I don't know that I still fully know this board. I think it's a lot like a guitar or any other instrument where you're constantly learning and evolving, and I don't know that you ever fully master it so much as you continue to grow with it.
As a guitarist, tell me what I do that makes your job harder.
Well, the number one thing is playing different instruments than you played at practice. Just going to throw that one out there. Or constantly changing your pedals, especially between sound check and Sunday mornings. Just because I do so much work on our walkthroughs to try and get the sounds and EQ proper. And then if the things change, it sits in the mix different. But it's also something that I can roll through too.
Sure. Now flip that. What do we do as guitarists, instrumentalists that makes your job easier?
I think the first and foremost is be authentically you and play the way that you feel God leads you to play. And then, because I think if you're faking it or trying to play something else, it makes it hard for me because I can tell that you're not playing it with. It's hard to quantify passion, but it just doesn't come across
Sure.
right. So that's not a technical answer, but I think that's a real answer. And then another thing is practice your instrument. And third is I view us all as collaborators. And if I ask you or say something about your tone, don't take it as a personal affront. And we just work together because there's things I'm up against some issues with our house with frequencies and stuff that stand out that are very different than what you have in your ears or what you're playing with at your house.
No, that's fair. And one of my videos actually talks about that. So it's right in line. So
Cool.
tee that one up.
Yeah, there you go.
So on the topic of tone, when the guitarist, when I or one of the other guitarists comes to you and they feel that their tone is wrong on Sunday after they either hear it through the playback or the online recording, why do you think that usually is?
Well, I think we're always chasing perfection. I think it's part of it. And we all have a sound in our head that we want to hear. In the same way that I say that we're collaborative and I should be able to say something to you, I feel like you should say something to me. And one thing that is a bit different with the way that I do things is I like to think of us not as a cover band. If you're comparing yourself to the way that it sounds in the artists we're covering, you may not sit in the mix the same way because I just blend it differently. But I think that there's a bit where tone can be such a big deal or such a thing too, because here in this room, when I'm mixing, and especially if we're doing the days where you're getting the slave to my board that we're recording as opposed to the online mix,
Sure.
my mix is influenced by the dynamics of the room. And so I'm not in a sterile environment like I would be in headphones. Cues, my everything is blended towards the room, not towards an online mix. So sometimes that's just take it with a grain of salt that you're not hearing it in the room the way that I'm hearing it.
That's fair. Now, flip that. For you personally, when you are in here and you're mixing for 3 services and you feel like you just can't get it right, tell me about that and what do you think made that mix sound bad to you versus any other Sunday when you feel like you just nailed it?
Well, I think I need to back this up a little bit and say that I think that one thing that frustrates me sometimes with sound guys in general is I find that a lot of sound guys don't get into this because they love music. They get into it because they're told or because they're computer guys or tech guys and they get pushed in this realm. And I think it's really important that a sound guy actually really enjoys music and feels the call to do this. And so for me, sometimes when I'm chasing a tone or chasing a sound, it's frustrating because I don't want to inhibit the congregation's ability to worship because the song doesn't sound right. And so I get frustrated with it now where when I feel the most like I nailed my mix is where I feel like I'm out of the way the most. And the band is able to convey the worship song to the congregation and you see people into it and worshiping and whatnot. That's when I feel the most like I nailed the sound. Is where I feel like I was the least in the way.
It's good stuff. Tell me about the talkback mic. How do you use that and how are you communicating with the band? What are some of the things that you're saying with the band?
Well, I think we do things very different here where
We're a little odd.
I think that one thing that separates us from some other churches is we're really family as far as the team is concerned. And it doesn't matter if you're back of house on stage, we all basically just see each other as equals and hang out together outside of here and whatnot. So I use the talkback mic basically to tell jokes. So I love, we have a countdown clock, and as we're rolling into it, I usually try and tell a stupid joke simply just to take the edge off, to remind everybody this is worship. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be bringing stuff to God. This is not the most serious thing in the world. We're not an opera.
And it works. It loosens up the team, right? And
Yeah. Two is it continues to draw that family feel, right?
Yeah.
Like that we're just a bunch of goofballs and we enjoy doing this.
And the point you made earlier, you're an audiophile, right? So we talked about that earlier in this video, that how you just love music and that's part of the passion that drives you. And because of that, you might know guitars better than I do. You watch so many more guitar videos than I do. And in fact, the guitar I'm playing right now, you found for me.
I did.
So tell me about that. Tell me about your passion for instruments and the Jazzmaster that we're playing today.
Sometimes I do feel a little bit unqualified. I have a little imposter syndrome, I think, that we all can get, and I get it because I personally do not play an instrument very well anyways. So I do try and watch these dumb videos and constantly try and learn my craft a bit more. And Shane has a lot of guitars, and some of them are similar in look and tone. And I was on Reverb just being a dork and trying to shove a different guitar his direction, and found basically a Jazzmaster. And I do like Dinosaur Jr. and it's like pretty cool looking guitar. I love the gold.
And it turns out it sounds good.
And it was one of those things where you just throw it as a joke. Hey, you should buy this. And Shane texted me later in the week, put an offer in, and what? And then I felt all the pressure that it's going to sound like crap when it shows up. And it showed up and it sounded amazing.
Yeah,
And
I had low expectations too. I had an extra set of pickups I was ready to put in it, but never had to.
And it honestly, it's personally, and it has nothing to do with the fact I picked it out. I just really like the tone of that guitar in this room. And I feel like it's a bit different because you don't see a lot of Jazzmasters in worship. So I like that it's something a little different.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Micah.
Yep.
That's my sound guy. He might know my gear better than I do. He actually found a guitar that I play on Sundays. He's not the enemy. He never was. Quick thing before we move on. Do you know your sound guy's name? Actually, know it. If you do, drop his name in the comments, or just write, I need to learn it. And if you had to stop and think, maybe this Sunday, go and find out. So he's a volunteer carrying a heavy load. What do you actually do with that? 3 things. Number 1, deliver him a finished tone. Our church runs a rotating roster of volunteers. Most weeks it's Micah. Some weeks it's going to be Todd or Easy. Whoever's on, they should not have to fix my guitar tone. They got 30 other channels to worry about. So my job is to walk in with a tone that's already done. It's already EQ'd, already sitting right. My Tonex captures, my wet effects, my drive sections, it's all dialed in before I even get there. And he shouldn't have to carve my guitar into the mix. Now, to be clear, if your church has a sound engineer on staff who runs every service and knows your rig inside and out, you can build a tone together over time. Different setup, different advice. For a rotating roster of volunteers, his job is the fader. My job is to give him something worth pushing. Number 2, ask him what he needs. Then actually do it. Walk up between services, between songs, and ask one question. Is there anything I can do here to make your job easier? Then listen. Maybe he needs you gained down a bit. Maybe your wireless pack keeps dropping. Maybe you're too loud in the room. Whatever he says, do it. You just made a teammate. Number 3, don't change your rig between rehearsal and Sunday without letting them know. This one is mine to confess. I'll dial in a tone for Wednesday rehearsal that the sound guy thinks it's balanced, it fits great with the band. Then Saturday night, I swap guitars or I change amp captures. And Sunday, I show up with a different signal. He never agreed to that. I just handed him a brand new problem with no warning. If you change something, tell him. A 10-second text saying, hey, I'm swapping guitars this Sunday. That's it. That's the whole fix. Here's the part that actually matters. When you play worship guitar, there's an order to who you're serving. You serve the Lord first, then the worship leader, then the vocal, then the room. The sound guy, he's serving the exact same order. Same Lord, same worship leader, same room. He's just doing it with a fader instead of a guitar. And here's the thing about his job that I missed for years. When he does it perfectly, nobody notices him. Nobody claps for the sound guy. A great mix just sounds like worship. He serves the whole room and stays completely invisible doing it. That's the most servant-hearted seat in the building, and nobody ever sees it. Let me be straight with you, because I don't want this to sound like I have it all solved. I don't. I still mess with Micah. I still swap guitars on him Wednesday to Sunday. I still change amp captures and forget to say anything. Less than I used to, but it still happens. And honestly, part of that is because Mike and I have the kind of relationship where I can mess with him a little. We give each other a hard time. That's earned. That took years. But notice what makes that okay. It's a friendship now, not a guitarist resenting an obstacle. It's two volunteers on the same team who actually like each other. You can give a teammate a hard time. You can't do that with an enemy. The goal was never a perfect process. The goal was getting on the same side. So next Sunday, when you feel like your guitar isn't sitting in the mix, before you look at the booth and think what I used to, remember what the guy is actually holding. He's not failing. He's a volunteer holding 30 channels while you hold one. Most worship guitar content is about your tone. This channel is about being good to play next to. Your sound guy is part of that. And if this is the kind of guitarist you want to be, subscribe. You're in the right place. If you've ever blamed the booth for a bad Sunday, I have too, for years. You're in good company, and you're in the right place. Do something for me this week. Send this to your sound guy. Just send it. Let him know you see what he's carrying. And next Sunday, before the first song, go learn his name. See you Sunday.